What is going on, Culture Changers? Welcome back to the Culture Changers podcast. I'm Cody. Alongside with me today is that boy,
Dylan. What's going on, y'all?
So we definitely got some good things talking about, as far as topics today. We have NBA trades and rumors of things that have happened and are going to happen, potentially. The NFL playoff picture. We're going to be giving our Week 11 NFL predictions.
Yep.
And we have some other notable things that we're going to talk about in the sports world. So, again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on, these videos, these podcasts. And, tell your friends about it. Tell your family members, your grandma, your grandpa, whoever it is, your coworkers. Tell them about
your dog, your
the
cat,
most underrated
your fish,
podcast
whoever
in the history of ever.
Yeah.
So let's get into topic number one, NBA trade rumors.
Yeah.
Dylan, do you want to, go ahead and read them out?
Yeah. So these are some of the trades that already happened. So the Bucks and the Pelicans made a trade where the Bucks got Drew Holiday and the Pelicans in return got Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 first-round picks. I mean, I thought Eric Bledsoe was a really good player in his own right. So, for the Pelicans to be getting all that back in return just for Drew Holiday, I think that's pretty good package, honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's definitely a good trade.
Yeah.
I think more for the Pelicans because I'm not really sure they're going to be taking on the contracts of Bledsoe and George Hill, but they are getting those 3 first-round picks, which, at the end of the day,
they're trying to build around Zion and for the future.
For sure, obviously. They have Lonzo, Zion, Brandon Ingram. They even have some, like that Jackson guy. I can't remember.
Jackson Hayes, I think.
Yeah. That dude who always complains because he apparently doesn't get enough recognition. So, I mean, whatever. But, those guys, definitely something to look forward to in the future. Then the next trade is the Blazers and Rockets. The Blazers got Robert Covington, who, most recently was obviously with the Rockets, but before that was with the 76ers.
Actually, Timberwolves.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Sixers, Timberwolves, and then the Rockets, I believe.
I don't know what's happened. I don't know why
he was good a couple years ago in Philly.
He's like a 3-and-D type player, right?
Yeah.
And then the Rockets actually got Trevor Ariza back for like the 19th time and 2 first-round picks. So, again, I think that's just kind of something where they're just trying to offload a salary and trying to just get some more picks to kind of build around their future because of something that we're going to be discussing in a little bit.
Yeah, the next trade was between the Suns and the Thunder, and this was kind of like, I think, as soon as the trade, whatever,
I mean, I heard rumors of this trade happening, and then it's like, boom, it just happened.
Yeah, it happened right away. So the Suns got Chris Paul, who's now on his 5th team, which is pretty crazy for a guy who's probably first ballot Hall of Famer. And then the Thunder in return have gotten Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, and then Jalen
LeCue, I guess is how
we don't
know. That's how we're guessing. We're not sure about those last 2 guys, but obviously Kelly Oubre, very touted guy as far as his athleticism. He's good down in the paint, good in the post, but I don't think he's really developed into anything more than that. And then Ricky Rubio, obviously really good passing guard. There was a lot of, I don't really know. I mean, when he came out into the league, remember he wasn't coming into the league for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was odd.
He had that really big summer with the Olympics, with Spain and whatnot.
Right.
And he just never kind of lived up to the hype. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happens. Then the next trade is the Lakers received Dennis Schroeder from the Thunder in exchange for Danny Green in this year's first-round pick.
Yeah. Schroeder's a nice player. I mean, he can take the ball up the court. He can shoot. Danny Green, he's kind of later into his career. But
for me, it doesn't really make sense. Is why are you getting rid of a shooting guard for a point guard when you have Rondo on your roster? And then you have Kuzma, who's a shooting guard or a point forward, that type of thing. I don't really know why the Lakers did this deal. Again, if I had to guess, it's mostly a money thing rather than,
a wanting to just get rid of Danny Green.
Yeah. I can't really imagine you just want to get rid of a guy who's decent at shooting 3-point,
And just helped you win the championship. I mean.
Exactly. So, you don't really like to see teams blow it up, but I mean, if they have to, get rid of a piece or 2, I guess that's pretty, okay. Speaking of blowing things up, James Harden wants out of Houston, and he apparently wants to go to the Nets with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. And then I don't know, about Russell Westbrook, but, we assume that he's going to probably want out because Why would you want to stay if James Harden isn't there?
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing that I saw the other day was that a lot of, there's some front office people in the NBA that think that Russell Westbrook actually doesn't have trade value anymore. And I think teams really kind of wanted to stay away from Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's an electrifying player.
That's just what he is. Like, the Knicks apparently were taking a look at getting him, but now there's reports coming out that they don't want him because they think that he's just going to be too hard to kind of like handle. Or
if you're the Knicks, I mean,
whatever.
I wouldn't be saying that.
But honestly, if I was a Knicks, I would want Russell Westbrook in here.
At least it brings some fans to the games,
exactly,
build a little bit of excitement,
exactly.
Better than anything that they've had for a while. And if Harden gets traded, which Houston is apparently making it seem like they're not going to do it and they're willing to get, they said, uncomfortable. Because, if I'm Houston, I would want a bunch in return as well, right? I'm not just going to say, here's James Harden for, 3 guys off your bench and, 2 first-round picks. I wouldn't want that, Yeah,
exactly. So, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Apparently, Harden turned down, $50 million a year.
He would have been the first player to receive that, too, so...
a lot of people think in the league that Harden is the best player. He definitely is probably the best scorer in the league right now, especially when Kevin Durant's not healthy. Yeah. The next topic that we want to talk about is the NFL playoff picture. So, Dylan, if you want to go ahead and kind of list off, what it's looking like in the AFC.
Yeah, so right now the top 4, the conference or divisional leaders are the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Colts. And then following them in the wild card, because there's the expanded wild card, so there's 3 spots this year. It's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders, the Miami Dolphins, and the Baltimore Ravens at 7. And just kind of outside looking in are the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that the 4 through 9 spots, so the Colts through the Browns, all have the same record. Some of them have tiebreakers over the other. There's still some matchups still to come. The Browns beat the Colts, but the Colts beat the Titans, and the Raiders beat the Browns. But the Browns still have the Ravens and Titans to play. So, there's definitely a lot going on and a lot of stipulations that could end up changing it. And then you get later in the season and what teams are resting and which teams aren't. Mm-hmm. Especially, if the Steelers lock it up, can the Browns end up playing the Steelers without, a lot of their starters playing and then maybe get that last win and sneak into the playoffs? Who really knows? Looking at the NFC side of things, the division leaders are the Green Bay Packers, the New Orleans Saints, the Arizona Cardinals, which was surprising to us because, a couple weeks ago, they were just 500.
Right, yeah.
And then the Philadelphia Eagles, which is really surprising to me because they just lost to the Giants. So I don't know. I know
the Giants have won a couple in a row. I think 2.
Yeah, I think they beat the football team and the Eagles.
Oh,
they have 3 wins on the year. It's crazy. And then the wild card is the Buccaneers, Rams, and Seahawks. There's a couple teams that were kind of in the hunt, but we just thought they were kind of just too far gone to really make a difference into these playoff situations. Who do you think is going to end up winning and getting in?
Getting
in the AFC and the NFC. Who do you think is going to end up winning their division and getting into the playoffs?
I kind of expect the Dolphins to kind of come back down to reality a little bit. I don't know how they've honestly managed to get to 6-3. I think they're playing pretty good defense.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Offensively, I feel like at some point they're going to face some better defenses that are going to, challenge them. And I think Tua's bound to make a rookie mistake or 2 here and there, and that might, cost them a game. I think the Ravens, Titans, and Browns are still in the thick of it. And the Raiders have been playing really good football lately too. So
yeah, but they do play the Chiefs this week, so they could take that L, fall down. And if the Ravens and Titans play each other this week, which we'll get to in a little bit, and then the Browns play the Eagles. So Eagles haven't been doing well. So if the Browns win and the Raiders lose, the Browns probably hop up into the top, the wild card, and then whoever wins between the Titans and Ravens will take over.
Right.
And then the Dolphins will probably be in there.
We're talking about 5 teams, but I really think it's almost 3 or 4 fighting for one spot.
You know for sure. easily for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because
and plus all these teams have like the same record, and a lot of these teams are playing each other this year. So there's like a lot
the
of
AFC North is playing the AFC South, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you see, there's 5 combined teams within this top 9 from both of those divisions, which is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
So and then 2 from the other 2 divisions. I think it's going to be pretty close to how it is right now. I think maybe the Titans and Colts are going to battle it out a little bit, but I think the Steelers, Chiefs, and Bills are going to lock up the divisions. And then it's going to be between the Titans and Colts to win the AFC South.
Right.
And then I'm thinking, I still think that the Ravens are going to get into the playoffs, but I think they are starting to get figured out a lot more now. I think the Raiders are going to get in, and then I'm really hoping the Browns sneak that last one in.
Right, yeah.
Get that last W whenever they need it, and get into the playoffs. And then, what do you think about the NFC?
I mean, I really only think that I think the NFC West is kind of up for grabs between the Seahawks and the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have been
even the Rams.
Yeah, and the Rams actually, yeah.
I actually think the Rams have been playing the best out of all.
Yeah, honestly, especially the way that they played the Seahawks on Sunday. Yeah,
sure.
That we watched that game. That was a really good game. And I mean, I really think the way that we have it, the 7, I think those 7 are going to be the teams that make it. I just think it's who wins what division. I mean, maybe not the Eagles. Maybe the Giants come out of nowhere and just take it.
That would be so crazy. Like a 4 or 5 win team making the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know.
That would probably be the first time. I mean, I remember like the Seahawks being like 7-9 or
was
6.
it 6? I thought it was 6-10, and they made it.
Yeah, and
or
I thought that
Saints
was ridiculous. If a 4-win team makes the playoffs, that'd just be.
That would be so funny. And then what if they even get a win in the playoffs? Oh my God, that'd be.
They're just getting hot at the right time, like they used to, like when they won against the Patriots.
So I do have to agree with Dylan. I think that maybe the Eagles or Giants are kind of interchangeable depending on how the rest of the year goes. They both have to play the Browns, so that's 2 L's right there. One for the Eagles, one for the Giants. But I think the rest of it's going to stick out where the Packers, Saints, Cardinals, Bucks, Rams, and Seahawks are all going to end up making the playoffs.
Those are all.
Those are just the
all those teams are just in the NFC.
Yeah, they're just all too good right now for the other teams to catch up. Now we are going to be getting into our Week 11 predictions. So do you just want to go ahead and rattle off who we have winning?
Yeah, so we have the Cardinals, Steelers, Lions, Texans, Titans, Browns, Saints, football team, Chargers, Dolphins, Vikings, Packers, Chiefs, and the Rams.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, some of these teams have like fairly easy matchups, but like the Steelers and Jaguars, the Packers played the Jaguars last week, and a lot of people thought they were going to steamroll them, but it was a really close game, due to special teams, which kind of flipped the game around for the Jaguars. So we could potentially see that in this game, right? The Steelers had a bad game against the Cowboys.
Special teams wise.
Yeah. Who knows what happens there? Obviously, we picked the Titans over the Ravens. We think that maybe the Titans can just get one extra stop, then the Ravens could potentially, especially with teams apparently figuring them out. And I don't really know if the Titans can stop Derrick Henry. I don't know if anybody can really stop him.
Ravens can stop Derrick Henry.
Or the Ravens can stop him. Let's see what else here. Football team over who was it? The Bengals.
Yeah.
That was kind of one that we had to hash out a little bit, but maybe Alex Smith coming back. They had a really close game, and they lost to the Lions, who have been improving throughout the year. So, I guess there's that to look forward to.
And I just think that the defensive line for Washington should dominate the Bengals up front and make it really uncomfortable for Joe Burrow. And then another surprise game that we had was the Texans over the Patriots.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, after the Patriots just beat the Ravens, and handling Lamar Jackson, we just think that maybe Deshaun's a little bit too special as a passer, especially if you're Matt Millen. He probably thinks that for sure. But we think that Deshaun's just going to be able to get the job done.
Yeah. And defensively, they're not bad. It's not saying much that they played the Browns that well. I mean, obviously we're 6-3, so it's not like we're a bad team, but we haven't played the best teams this year. But and the weather was really a big factor in last week's game.
Right.
But the thing with the Texans moving forward is without David Johnson, and they weren't even that good of a rushing team. They're literally just like a one-dimensional, just passing team because the Browns are not that good at stopping the run, and the Texans did nothing running the ball on Sunday. So,
and then we have the Chiefs beating the Rams in their place, or the Raiders, this time. So that's kind of like a 1-for-1. Like, you beat us in our home, we beat you in your home. And honestly, that would be big for the Browns because if the Browns do win, they could move up into this.
Yeah,
if the Browns win this week, the Browns are probably moving back up into the wild card spot.
They're just doing themselves a favor.
If they win, the Ravens or Raiders are one of those two teams is probably going to lose.
And the Titans.
Yeah, or the Titans could lose. So, that could be pretty big. This week is a pretty big week, for trying to get ahead into the playoff standings.
Right.
And then we have the Rams going to Tampa and beating the Buccaneers. The defense, like we talked about earlier, is just kind of pretty special. They're ranked top 5 in both passing and rushing and total defense. So, I mean, that's just pretty awesome there. And then to cap things off with our news and notes, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Drew Brees is out at least a week where he had the rib damage and apparently like a lung collapsed on him. So that's pretty crazy. The NBA draft is taking place tonight, Wednesday, November 18th. So tell us if you're happy with your team selection because this is going up on Thursday.
Yep.
And then apparently number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards,
overall prospect. We don't know if he was picked number 1 yet because it's only like 4 o'clock.
Yeah. But Anthony Edwards apparently doesn't love basketball. So I don't know what's going on with that. I think that's just, something that came out to kind of like deter a certain team from taking him so that way another team could get him, if he were to fall. What do you think about that? Because he said, he was like, oh, man, if I played football, like I could do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And all
he said all that?
No, he was like literally like, like you can kind of like let loose on the football field. You can celebrate, spike the ball, all this. He's like in basketball, it's kind of more of like a controlled environment. Like,
I mean, I don't think you can get this far into something if you don't have some type of passion for it, if you don't have some type of love for, the game. I think he's got to have
it. Look at Jamarcus Russell and Johnny Manziel. I mean, that stuff does happen, right?
I guess that's true. Like
sometimes people just get bailed out by their surroundings.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't think he had that great of a, like supporting cast around him at Georgia. So
yeah, and they made some noise.
And if you're going to a team who's picking number 1, I mean Minnesota, I believe they have the number 1 overall pick. Like they have some guys there, but typically when you're going to like a team with the number 1 overall pick, the supporting cast isn't that great. So you better love it because it's not going to be fun probably the first year or two. So
absolutely. I think that's gonna end it for us today. This is a good little pod where we discussed on some things that is happening right now in the sports world. Yep. Let us know down below what's been your favorite trade so far, and if James Harden does go, where do you hope he ends up landing? Because I even heard that the Bucks are a potential spot for him. That would be crazy, him and Giannis. Is your team in the playoff picture? Let us know. What do they got to do to get into the playoff picture? Obviously, if they're way out of it, sorry about that. We can't all be Browns fans.
Looking forward to the draft.
We can't all be Browns fans, right? And then, our NFL Week 11 predictions. Are we right? Are we wrong? Do we pick your team? If we are wrong, tell us why down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Thank you, Culture Changers. Let's go.